of Jesus, I just want to quickly welcome somebody here. I'm going to put you Theo on the spot. And he's a wonderful man. He is one of the presenters on Premier Gospel Radio. Give him a hand, please. I met him at a conference, and we've become friends since. Thanks to you. I was on Premier Radio on Monday, and he was fantastic, so hey.
Oh, wow. Good evening. Sorry, I'm a bit late. I was at another conference and I had to go home, so I said to Ida, I'll be there definitely no matter what time, so I said I'm definitely going to come. I don't know, I was like, hey, how are you doing? You all right? I don't know what's happened already. I don't know, what do you want me to do?
Just talk.
Just talk. Okay, I'm a radio presenter, so we can talk. Definitely can talk. So how are you guys doing?
Good.
Have you learned a lot about mental health?
Yes.
Okay, can you just bring me up to date quickly? Somebody. So the young lady that was just standing up, what was you talking about? Sorry, I'll just come in, so.
Testimony about mentality.
In?
Mental health.
Oh, he's just talking about men. Okay, well I work with young people. I'm a behaviour mentor, positive behaviour mentor. That's what I do, and also I'm a radio presenter. I've been working with young people for about 15 years, even in this borough. And I come from northwest London, so Brent. And I've been working different capacities, gang members in schools, young fathers, older fathers. I'm a father of 6 myself, and I have 5 grandchildren. My eldest is 27, and my youngest is 11, so I was in football. I'm gonna make you guess that one out. So I'm 44, and my son's 27, so I'll leave that one for you.
Okay.
So you look, all the mathematicians in there, so getting the fingers and toes. Yeah, I'm 44, so yeah, there you go. So I had him at 16. So I was a young father myself. So working with young people, what I've learned and what I've gained understanding, especially with young men, a lot of the problems is they have no connection with anybody. So the only connection they have, especially with adults, is the guy that's a few years older than them on the street. So a lot of them have been kicked out of school from year 6. You'd be surprised how many primary school kids get kicked out and don't even touch high school. I've worked with a few that's never even been to high school. They went straight from 1 Pru, year 6, they went to year 7 Pru, and they stayed in there. So you could imagine how disengaged these young people are. Has anybody been in a Pru? You worked in a Pru? So you know what it's like. It's called a pupil referral unit. This is where they send the young people that's been kicked out of schools. That's where they go. It's pretty much like this. But it's little rooms, small classes, 3 or 4, sometimes 5 students in class, and they are allowed to manhandle the students. So it's a bit like a precursor to jail, because they get roughed up in there. If a student decides he's going to kick over the chairs and everything, they'll tell all the other students to come out, and then they'll send the big guys in, and they restrain them, pull them over. So you can imagine they get used to that. And then the only connection they have with anybody is another person that's going through the same thing as them. And then their parents tend to have given up on them because there've been phone calls. I know parents had to give up their jobs because so many phone calls. The students being kicked out, the son or daughters, because young ladies are involved as well. And then what happens, they reach teenage and they start smoking. And now they're smoking chemicals. They say it's weed or marijuana, but it's chemicals. It's grown in a bedroom, someone's room under lights, and then they add chemicals to it, THG, to give them the high. But it's just pure chemicals, so they can imagine a young mind forming, and then they've got chemicals going with the young mind together. It's not going to work. And then what happens is they get paranoid, and they get aggressive, and they want to argue with you. They lose respect. They don't want to. So if you've got a young person, you know someone, you can see the dramatic changes. Then you know that they're not actually in their right frame of mind. They're smoking, then they start drinking, they're coming home late. I know young men that they sleep on trap houses. I don't know what that means, a trap house. So if you don't know, it's a drug house. So when they've got young men or even young women. With young women, what they tend to do with young women, they tend to supply them with lots of goods. So you've got young ladies in the same situation as young boys, been out of school, been in and out of the education, different schools, then they get disenfranchised and they get caught up by these guys. See these chicken shops here? That's the recruiting ground.
Wow.
That's where they recruit all the young men and young women in the chicken shops. They watch them, they're like predators, so they watch like a lioness, watch for the one that's slightly lonely, slightly a bit gruff, slightly got no money, always hanging around, then they slide up. Buy them something today, buy them something tomorrow, and then next time they know, that's theirs. There's a little argument, they'll protect them, so now they feel protected. And then they're supplying them with money, because mum and daddy don't have it, and they want the latest. And then they just in there. So they'll have these young people sleeping on the floors, and all this is leading towards mental health. Because you see them in 5 years' time, they reach 20, they're crazy. They've lost the plot, talking to themselves, in and out of system, they just go in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Once they go in once, guaranteed to go back in again.
Wow.
I spoke to a friend of mine who works in young offenders on Friday actually. She said 90% of the young men in Felton, young offenders, have been excluded from school. Have gone through the system. That's 90%. That's a lot. So if you see a young man or a young woman and they're falling off the tracks, don't be scared to pull them back in. Because what they lack is an adult talking sense to them. I know a lot of us see the big crowd and we get intimidated. Don't be intimidated, you're protected by God. It says in the Bible, it will take you to the place of your enemies. And it walked valley of the shadow of death and you fear no evil. We say it, but do we actually believe it? We want to go into the place where our enemies are. It says, I'll put you on a table with your enemies, but don't fear no evil, because he's with you. So I've been with so many gang members, I've been sitting with them. Now look, I'm not the tallest. These guys are 6 foot plus. But if I say to them, sit down, they sit down. Because I'm still an adult to them. Irrespective of my size, I'm still an adult. When you're talking sense, sense will always override nonsense. But you have to be brave enough. So if you know young people, you see them and you're in touch with them, anytime you get a chance to speak to a young person, put something positive into their head. Always lead them with a positive seed. Drop it into their hearts. I left church at 14 and I went into the world and I had a fun time in the world. But the seed that was dropped in my heart when I was younger, because I grew up in church, I was there from Sunday to Sunday. Every day my mum dragged me here, there and everywhere. I was one of those kids every day. I used to sleep at the front, back, side. No matter where they put me in church, I would fall asleep. But one thing that never left me was the seed. So when I went back to church, because I wanted my kids then to have a little upbringing and know that there's a God, the seed that was inside me started to get watered and something started to stir in me. And it made me look at my surroundings differently, realizing, is this the life? I started questioning, is this it? Making money, going parties, checking girls, is this it? Been doing this for years, boring. Then the seed that was inside me started to say, look, there's more to life. There's more to life than partying. I say to young people, have you been to a party before? They said, yes, but that's it. It ain't getting any better than that. It's not getting any better, it's exactly the same thing. Same music, just different surroundings. Different, that's it. You go there, you drink, you dance, you check person, get girls, boys, whatever, and that's it. Same music. When I go out now and then, and I see people I used to party with, and they say, you're still coming here. This is the same song they played 5 years ago, and you're still acting like it's a brand new song. Still going, yeah, my tune. I'm like, really? Come on, man. You've been into this song for 20 years. Same thing, coming out, and then they dress up. Now we dress up to go to church, but we're in the daytime. Everybody can see us. They dress up and no one can see them. They go into the dark clubs. And it's the same. Young people do the same. You don't see them at the daytime. You only see them at night. As they say, the song, the freaks come out at night. They only come out at night. During the day, they're scared. And I say to young people in school, they always want to come out of school, I say, what would you be doing now? I'll be hanging on the street, my friends. I said, no, you wouldn't, because your friends are not out. They only come out after 3:30 because that's when the school kids leave. So if you've got school children around you, nieces, nephews, sons and daughters, just keep talking to them. Don't ever stop talking to them. No matter what they're going through, don't ever stop talking to them. Because sometimes you're the only adult that are talking something positive into their life. Oh, sorry, by the way, you can catch my show each and every Monday from 10 to 1 and Monday evening 7 to 8. Promo Gospel.
Thank you very much. Sorry.